Bienvenidos, bienvenidas. Me alegro de que ustedes estén aquí. I am happy that you guys are here. We're going to go on the happy journey of finishing up some of our preposition stuff and working on verbs like gustar. And taking any other questions you have along the way, which is why I brought up on my other screen my questions here. I just wanted to know if there was anybody who had any questions before we start on anything relating to the homework.
Are you going to go over that last fill in the blank?
The fill in the blank, we can do that now if you would like to.
Yes.
Well, I've done it 3 times, and every time I get the exact same score, and I can't figure out what I'm doing.
Okay.
It's driving me crazy.
And I'm going to hope I keyed it in.
Tried it once.
I'm going to hope I keyed it in properly because part of the problem with that is that a couple of those had more than one answer that was possible. A couple. So I'm going to hope it scored properly on that. Anyway, we will take a look at that. Ooh, if I can get, oops, I need to go on a different route here. I need to ask to do now. Stop, computer, stop. Okay. Aquí vamos. Yes, I talk to my computer, and more often than not, it's like not nice stuff I say to it.
If you go over that, just don't put my grade up. It's okay.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna, no, we won't bring it. We'll just bring up the page itself.
Thank you.
And that's it. No. I have no desire to do. And
Well,
you
I
know,
do it, and then I forgot to write. I thought I'd be able to print out the page so I could.
Yeah, I haven't been able to figure out a way
to
to.
start all over again.
somebody
Yeah.
else brought that up, and I can tell you that I am able to print these pages out as a PDF. Someone from a different class asked me this. So I can do that for you if you want to have a PDF
That would be good.
listing of the pages.
Yeah, I couldn't even copy.
It's not a
copy.
thermodynamics class, so a 29 is not a good score.
Well, you know, I would say don't let that deter you for sure.
I did.
Okay, I'm going to try to make, I'm going to see. Ooh, I know there's a way where I could just bring this up. We're going to see if we can make the screen a little bit bigger to make it. Oops, ooh, that didn't look so good. Make it easier to read. I don't think it likes that. Got too many things running at the same time and it's complaining to me. One thing for sure that I know this came up with questions that people had, because a lot of you see things on Duolingo too, where you'll see odd little uses thrown out here. And here's the thing, they are just kind of thrown out there with en and on, de in particular those. I mean, there are a lot of prepositions. There's a ton of them. The ones that are easy are the ones that talk about actual physical location. You know, like, oui, por ejemplo, el vaso está encima de la mesa. It's on top of the table, right? Or la caja, the box, está debajo de la mesa. Yeah, underneath, on top of, in front of, behind. Those, there are fewer like ways to go wrong. But with de, en, a in particular, there are a lot of ways to go wrong. And it's, you know, we try to give you some rules to go by, but there are always things where it's just like, that's just the way it is. So sadly, if you got a lot of them wrong, don't worry about that. Eventually it does come to you from, you know, just seeing a lot of examples. Okay, vamos a ver aquí. Ayer salimos So we've got to kind of infer what we're talking about. Salimos now, salimos could mean leaving from a place or leaving for a place. So we have to look at the context of all those words, or at least pass the first two blanks to figure out what our context is, what our point of reference is. Okay. Ayer salimos, Phoenix, las Islas Galápagos. Porque quería, we get that we're talking about in the past. So it's not because queríamos sets it, we wanted to. Queríamos ver, we wanted to see los animales exóticos. Ayer salimos, so we have to assume that Phoenix is your starting point, and therefore here we need
De.
de. Here we need de. Ayer salimos de Phoenix. And next we can have, we can't have a choice of two things.
Or
Para.
It could be it could also legitimately be
Para.
para. Because from this, we assume we're leaving this place and we want to wind up in this next place. So here in the first slot, you can only have de. Salimos de Phoenix because we're talking about our starting point. A las Islas Galápagos o para las Islas Galápagos. Both are equally correct. Both indicate the place you want to wind up in, which means it's got to be a to the place, para also to the place, but meaning that's your destination. Okay. Porque queríamos. Perdón. Sí, dime.
Pregunta, ayer salimos a Phoenix. It's
Phoenix, no.
Incorrecto, but does that make sense? If I said to somebody, I'm leaving Phoenix, and I said, ayer salimos a Phoenix.
No.
They look at me funny and go, oh, you left Phoenix? You want to go to Phoenix?
Pregunta. Tienes buena pregunta. You've got a really good question, Keith. So here it depends on what you mean. If you mean you're leaving and Phoenix is the place you're leaving from that place, it's got to be de. If you say salimos a Phoenix, you're saying we left to go to Phoenix. And we want to end up in Phoenix. So whether you use a de or an a there is wholly dependent on whether Phoenix is your starting point. You know, if it's your starting point, that blank has to be filled with de. If Phoenix is where you want to wind up when you're done doing the traveling, you know, that's where you want to finish up after you're done driving or walking or whatever it is you're doing, then it will be a or para. That makes sense? But if my starting point, the place where I start my watch is Phoenix, then it must be de. Salimos de. De says from. We left from Phoenix, meaning we're starting off at Phoenix.
Okay, I got it. So de is you're from. You're leaving from Phoenix.
Right. And so it might help. I don't know if it helps. De always talks, de, when you're talking about movement, always talks about the point of origin. Always. Even when you say, soy de Arizona, soy de Colorado, soy de Estados Unidos. When you talk where you're from, that's your point of origin. Even when you're talking about your nationality, it's your point of origin. With here, if where you're starting off from is Phoenix, that's your point of origin now. So it's got to be salimos de Phoenix. Except that now instead of saying soy de Estados Unidos or soy de Phoenix, where you're just talking about origin, now we're talking about with a verb of movement instead of soy. And salimos is not a static verb. Salimos is a verb of movement, right? So point of origin got to be there. It's just
okay, got it. So when I was sitting in the taxi in Santiago, and I was trying to be conversive with the driver, and I say, "Donde Chile?" And he hits the brakes and he stops and he turns around and looks at me like, "What are you talking about? We're in Chile."
Donde? I'm sorry, what was the word after donde?
I was asking him, I was trying to ask where he's from.
Oh,
En
¿de,
cambio,
de dónde es usted?
I say, "Donde Chile?" Donde Chile, which is, where's Chile? Well, I'm in Chile. That's why he stopped and looked at me like, "Are you an idiot?"
Okay. So if you want to say, are you from Chile? Right? Es de Chile? Es de Chile? Es, and they'll assume because you're talking to them that you just omitted the word usted. ¿Es usted de Chile? ¿Es usted de Chile? Or just, ¿es de
Or
Chile?
where are you from? ¿Dónde es? Yeah?
¿De dónde es usted? ¿De dónde es usted?
Yeah, I missed the day. Okay. Gracias.
¿De dónde? Now, just ¿dónde es? Where are you? Well, but, and there you're, ¿dónde está? Where are you, right? ¿De dónde es usted? ¿De dónde es usted? Even when you're asking where somebody is from, the de has to move up in front of that question word, ¿dónde? ¿De dónde? ¿De dónde? From where? ¿Dónde está? If you're talking about just location, right? ¿Dónde está? But ¿de dónde es? Where are you from? That's origin. Yeah?
Bien.
Okay.
Merci.
Origin is a big deal with Spanish, and origin is one of those things that it's kind of a sacred cow. Origin is de. Ayer salimos de Phoenix a las Islas Galápagos o para las Islas Galápagos porque queríamos ver los animales exóticos de este sitio turístico. We wanted to see the exotic animals of this tourist site. Subimos, and we have to look around. Avión.
Al
avión. Al avión. Subimos here does not mean climbing up. Subimos here is with a vehicle. So it means getting up into. Subimos al avión a las 7 de la mañana, at 7 a.m. with, when you're saying at a time, okay, at a time, it's a las 7 de la mañana. It has to be an a there. But de la mañana is in the morning, right? A las 7 de la mañana, so you know it's not 7 at night, de la noche. Subimos al avión a las 7 de la mañana y bajamos
del avión.
Del avión. So subimos a, we get up into, right? We move into the plane, but bajamos de, we get out of. And again, you can kind of think of it as an origin. I'm sitting there on the plane. Now, if I'm getting up, I'm originating myself from the plane and getting off, right? Bajamos del avión. And now we've got, again, a time of day. A las 4 de la tarde. A las 4 de la tarde. Fuimos por la aduana. We went through customs. Fuimos por la aduana. Después
de
llegar. Después can be used by itself to say later. Okay, por ejemplo. Primero, cada día, every day. Cada día, primero me levanto y después voy al baño. First I get up and then I go to the bathroom. So después can be used by itself, but if I say after doing something, then it must be después de. Después de llegar, after arriving. Fuimos por la aduana después de llegar. We went through customs after arriving. And we would say arriving, even though it's not llegando. Arriving is, right, not being used as a verb in that set after. Well, really, it doesn't matter. After that little word de does a magic thing with verbs. And the magic thing is infinitive, infinitive. Anytime you're using a verb, anytime, this is 100%. Anytime you use a verb after a preposition, a, de, en, por, para, it must be infinitive. Boom, that's just it. Okay. Entramos
En.
hotel. We're telling that we're going into the hotel. So there are two ways you can use this with entrar. Entrar is one of those verbs that will allow two prepositions. Entramos en el hotel. You can use en el hotel or entramos al hotel. But then it has to become al, right? Entramos al hotel or entramos en el hotel. Entramos en el hotel para dejar las maletas, to leave off the luggage, yeah, suitcases. There, dejar is leave them there, leave them there. Antes, la primera excursión, before the first excursion of the day. Antes de la primera excursión del día, okay? Del día.
Oh, del día, that's one.
Because it can't be del el, it's, yeah, excursión del día. Seguimos, we followed a la guía turística. Who did we follow? Tour guide. Tour guide's a human being.
Oh.
Human being receives the action, boom, that's the end of it. It's got to be a.
Okay.
I
You
thought
could-
it meant a book, like a tour, a
Oh,
guide book.
if you meant a book, you would have no word a there at all.
Okay.
And guía turística could be a guidebook. It could be. Seguimos a la guía turística durante el recorrido, that means tour
En.
de las islas.
Yay. Why not en? Can't you tour throughout?
You know, I'm thinking about that now. You probably could do either. For sure, somebody would understand you.
Okay.
I would say de is probably more common, but
Yeah.
for sure you would be understood if you used en there.
I think I ran out of days by that point.
Oh, you might have.
I used
Well,
them up and
es
But you
posible.
use-
I did all the ones
use-
I thought I knew. So,
Yeah.
and then plug the other ones in, right? Yeah.
Okay, todos tienen que caminar. Everybody has to walk. Todos tienen que caminar, boom, 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 los senderos marcados. The marked trails.
Oh, okay.
Senderos are trails. The marked trails.
En?
And
Not
everybody's got to walk on the marked trails.
para.
I
No.
no.
One of those paras.
No.
No.
You could maybe use por. You could maybe use por because that would mean along,
Okay.
but that wasn't one of your choices. Somebody could choose to say por los senderos marcados, and then it would mean along
Okay.
the marked trails instead of on the
Okay.
marked trails, right? And that's why we've got a limited number of prepositions because, yeah, you could kind of funky change some of those and change the meaning just ever so slightly. Porque hay que mantener el medio ambiente because they have to keep up, maintain the environment, el medio ambiente, inalterado, unaltered, meaning not, unchanged. You have to keep it unchanged. No molestarles. Inalterado para no molestarles, in order to not bother a los animales únicos y las plantas.
Okay.
And if you just said mantener el medio ambiente inalterado para no molestarles, and then put a period, You would say, well, les, not to bother them. Who's them? Who's them? I need to have a little phrase defining because I haven't defined it earlier. Who do I mean by les? And my little clarifying phrase is bother the animals and the plants, disturb them, right? Not, or in this case, not disturb them. A los animales únicos y las plantas tells me who we mean by les. Boom. And that last feature is something you may have to use later tonight when you use verbs like gustar, because molestar is a verb just like gustar. So even though you didn't know it, that was a preview of what comes up with verbs that are like gustar, because verbs that are like gustar will often have an a phrase. And the whole job of the a phrase is to tell who you mean by le or who you mean by les, because they're such fuzzy pronouns. They're fuzzy. They mean a bunch of things. Le can mean to him, to her, to you, if it's a formal you, usted. Les can mean to them, to you guys. Who does it mean? And to define who we mean by le or who we mean by les, we have an a phrase very, very frequently in Spanish. Okay.
Profesora,
Sí, sí,
pregunta.
dime.
So, inalterado para no molestares. ¿Sí? The last one. Inalterado para no molestares.
Sí, sí. In order not to annoy.
Yeah.
Para
missed
no
the
molestarles, in order not to annoy, disturb.
What's the
bother.
last? What's the last one before los animales?
A
Ah,
los animales únicos y
So-
las plantas.
no molestares a los animales. Sí.
A los animales.
Gracias, profesor.
De nada, de nada. Bien. Ok. ¿Tienen más preguntas o no?
I think that's okay.
And I saw that, and you know, as surely as I think something is super obvious, I can see that some of you struggled a little bit with that. Well, and you know what, I'm going to say, la culpa es mía. Many times the fault is mine, because sometimes I think I'm doing something very simple, and I'm not necessarily. And I am aware of this, so please understand that. That's, you know, these prepositions are the trickiest things. And when I had kids who were very, very good, very super good, and they were in AP studying to take those university exams, the chapter they hate the most is the verbs that use a, de, en, por, para. They hated that because there was so much memorization involved. And so many times where they would be unsure and they would slip something in the wrong way. Please know that on occasion, I would say especially with some of the verbs that use de. There are certain verbs in Spanish that just use de. And we don't need to really go there today because it's kind of a high level, very intricate lesson. There are some natives who tend to get that wrong too. Or they drop it just because, like, for reasons that we drop certain things in English, you know, kind of don't care about the rule. So they're fine points, but these points here are points that are not kind of picky rules. They're rules that more or less really help you be understood. They help you to be understood by those around you. And you'll just see, you know, notice that when you go off to do reading. Notice that when you go off to do reading, because, and just kind of make the mental note, because that will start to cement in the patterns. Okay. Not a COVID cough. Okay.
Oh,
Not a COVID cough. No.
Oh, no.
Suck down too much air. Okay. I'm going to have you do a little translation in breakout rooms. Or you know what? Maybe we cannot. I'm just thinking. If you have not yet mastered the magic of split screen, I'm assuming you have not.
Not.
No.
No se preocupen, do not worry.
We have to have,
We can maybe take it in some chunks. How's that? Let's take a look.
Marilyn, I have a question on the
Oh,
split
see.
screen. We'd have to have 2 sessions of Zoom is what you were trying
No.
to promise? No,
You would
okay,
have to have Zoom and then you would have to open a separate Chrome tab.
like a Safari or something
Right.
else.
Oh,
Separate Chrome tab, not a second Zoom tab. No,
Because
no.
I was trying to play around with it and all I kept on doing is messing up my computer.
Yeah.
I thought I
So,
didn't
but-
figure it out.
Literally,
If you've got a Mac on Zoom, if you go up to the Zoom bar, the window thing will plop down and then say, move it to the left or right. And it's,
oh, really?
Well,
yeah.
okay. So I'm going to show you what that looks like when I
just
do
like
it.
on a different window. I see that. Okay,
If I were to do this,
I got it. Thanks, Sue.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
really.
so if I were to do this, and I'm going to show you because I'm going to ask it to do a share. Ooh, where'd my share button go? See, that's a little more complicated for me because I got the share button that I've got to have come up. I'm going to ask it to share this screen. Ooh, and it totally messes up because I've got, yeah. Review. Well, it totally bumped me out because of the way I've got my, well, never mind. I thought I had a good example, but I don't. Sorry, pardon. Which is possibly why you're having an issue with it. Although my daughter tells me religiously, she said, well, we do this all the time, Mom. We do this
I
all the
didn't
time
know
with
you could do that
classes.
in the Zoom app. That's good, Susan, for sure.
Yeah, and so, you know,
I know it.
oh,
too.
well. Okay. Oh, it's because I'm doing a share. That's why I've got a problem with it. Okay. Although, no, I take that back. I take that back. I can do it on the other screen. So this would show you how having 2 screens side by side would look like. Yeah, people can do that. Anyway, but I digress. Yeah, that's, well, okay, never mind. Here we go. Aquí vamos. I am going to share with you a screen. Uy, ¿dónde está? I picked the wrong screen. Me equivoco. A ver. Aquí viene. Here it comes. Aquí viene. Here it comes. I'm going to share a screen with you guys. And we're going to take a look. And you know what I think we may say is, can you all see these sentences? Let's maybe take the first 3. Yeah? The first 3. Can you read this now? Pueden leer.
Sí.
Is it too small?
No.
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 Okay. ¿Cómo se expresan estas ideas? How are these ideas expressed? Tengan cuidado con usar a, de, en, para. Those are the only, I hope those are the only tricky ones I put in there. Okay. So this is the real test because this is your English brain saying, I want to say this and I need to do this, you know, in a different way, maybe in Spanish. I want you to take a look at the first 3 and just go off into a group to talk about the first 3. And we'll come back to do the second 3 next. My wallet is made of leather. They go into the supermarket very early. He's leaving the office at 5. He's leaving the office at 5. Keith, that one's for you. So,
What is that?
I want you to go off into groups and talk about just those 3 sentences. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to scribble that down.
What's the word for leather? I can't remember.
Oh, leather, cuero, cuero, C-U-E-R-O, C-U-E-R-O, cuero. Cuero is leather. Some regions sometimes use piel for that, but cuero. Cuero would be understood by everybody. My wallet's made of leather. They go to the supermarket very early. He's leaving the office at 5. You don't need to be thinking about tenses. I have kept this in present tense, okay, for a reason, because I want you to focus on the preposition use rather than lots of verb stuff, okay? Está bien. I'm going to stop my share on that. I'm going to send you off into breakout rooms, except for you, Marlene, because I don't want it to boot you out. Aquí vamos. Somos 9. Oh, okay. Momentito. Okay. Wow. It's going to make me do this the long way because I made an error first off. It's going to add room, out of room. Oh, okay. We are going to put a couple of you into various rooms. And this is going to be pretty random. And, oh, you know what, Marlene? Wow, I thought it would just okay. I'm going to add another room. I'm going to put myself in that room eventually. So Marlene, it's going to look like it's moving. Ooh, Marlene, it may not let me do this.
But you know what? Put me in a room.
Or just don't hit join. There you go.
You know, and I'll try. And if not, if I get knocked out, I'll just come back.
Yeah, just don't join anything. Don't hit the join button. And I think you will just stay here. Everybody else hit the join button except for Marlene because, you know, otherwise it's going to mess with her. So, okay, aquí vamos. Oh, yeah. Okay, Marlene, it is hitting you. It's just unassigned. So we're good. Muy bien. Aquí vamos. ¿Me puedes oír? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just
Magnífico. Okay. Vamos a ver. Let's see. So, ¿cómo se dice? My wallet is made of leather. ¿Sabes? ¿Sabes cómo decir my wallet? Here's a hefty great word.
wallet you said was cool.
Well, cuero is leather.
Okay. No, let's see. I'm gonna cheat here.
Okay. I'll help you out a little bit. There are two words that are okay for wallet, actually. Depends on the region you're in.
Is it cartera?
Cartera. Cartera is the most easiest one. So we're going to take cartera. ¿Cómo se dice? My wallet is made of leather.
Mi cartera es I'm not sure.
Okay. What do you know of which one of those words, a, de, en, or para, would we need to talk about when something is constructed out of a certain material?
Would be they.
It would be de. Correcto. Correcto. Okay, entonces, mi cartera es de cuero. That's it. We don't need a made of at all. We don't need a made word.
So that would be directly, it would be my wallet is of leather.
Exacto. Exacto. You could say está hecho de cuero, but most people are going to say the fastest, most direct way, which is mi cartera es de cuero. Boom.
Okay.
That's it. Right? That's the shortest, fastest, easiest thing. They often will omit that word made of because they just know that's what you mean. Okay. They go into the supermarket very early. So they go into the supermarket is where we're going to have a little preposition hiding there.
So let's see. Into, so that's an origin or a direct, they're going toward. Would you say that doesn't make sense?
Well, but
doesn't
which verb are you probably going to use for go into? Okay, ir is go, right?
right?
But go into means enter, right?
Okay.
¿Cómo se dice to enter?
On, could you say that on tres?
Entrar.
Okay.
So we're going to use entrar for they.
Oh, so, but it would be the infinitive then.
No, we're going to have to change entrar to say
Oh, okay.
they're doing it.
So it would be ellos,
See?
ellos,
Entrar is a nice regular verb. Entrar.
entraron.
Entran.
Okay. So it would be shows, you're gonna go toward. So would you say para la supermercado?
Probably not para with entrar.
Okay.
Entrar is either going to use a or en.
So that would be en. En.
Sure. Or
En.
a. But en, yeah. Entran en el supermercado. And now very early is just muy temprano, right? Muy
Okay.
temprano. So, ellos entran en el supermercado muy temprano. Now, let's say you cannot come up with that word entrar. Let's say you're thinking, and you're put on the spot live. You could just say van al supermercado. You could van al supermercado.
Okay.
And they would still get, I mean, you're getting across the meaning, just using a different verb, right?
Okay. That makes
So
sense.
That's possible. Okay. Muy bien. He is getting out of the car now. Now we need a special verb for getting out of the car. It's either going to be subir or bajar. Subir or bajar. Get out of. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm the wrong one. Excuse me. He is leaving the office at 5. Perdón. Perdón. He is leaving the office at 5. We need the leave verb. And we're going to take salir, leave, and conjugate it for he. And
So it would be ls subí.
oh, I'm sorry. No, I steered you wrong. I'm sorry. I looked at the next sentence. And the sentence we're looking at is he is leaving the office.
Okay.
I gave you the wrong sentence, Marlene. My mistake.
Okay.
He is leaving the office.
ls su.
Well, we just want one verb. We don't want to use es.
Okay.
He is leaving comes from salir. Salir means to leave.
Okay.
So all we have to do is conjugate salir for él.
Okay.
I know in English we say he is leaving, but all we do is take salir and conjugate it for él.
And el office, oh wait, no, so.
You gotta have the leaving part.
Okay. El salir. El salir.
Right, take off the IR and we just gonna stick a vowel in there.
A.
Okay, so how do we say that word? ¿Cómo se dice?
El sale.
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 El sale. Okay, now he's leaving the office. He started off in the office. That's the place he's getting out of. El sale.
So would it be, oh, he's leaving of the, or he's leaving of it, so it would be
De. Muy bien.
de office,
Oficina. De la oficina. And now we need a time at 5 o'clock.
a los horas 5.
A las 5.
Okay, so it would just be, you wouldn't have to say hora in there?
No.
Okay.
No. French does that. Spanish does not.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to call everybody back. And so here's the thing. When you see something like he is leaving, you don't need every single word translated. You don't have to look at is and say, oh, I need to think of the word él es. No, because what's the action? The action is not that he is. The action is he's leaving.
Okay. Makes
So
sense.
we take salir and we conjugate it for the person doing it. He's just a onesie guy. We're not talking to him, we're talking about him. So, él sale, él sale.
Él sale de oficina.
When you say he's leaving the office at 5, you don't mean he's doing it right now as we're speaking, because it's not 5 o'clock, right? You just say that you're communicating he generally does this at 5 o'clock. Él
Okay.
sale de la oficina. Es así. Okay, vamos a ver. Let's see how you guys did. We're waiting for a couple other folks to come on back in. Ok, muy bien. Aquí estamos, aquí estamos. Here we are. ¿Cómo se dice, clase? My wallet is made out of leather.
Mi
Oh, and you gotta
cartera,
unmute yourself, guys.
mi cartera es de cuero.
Mi cartera es de cuero. The easiest, now you could also say mi billetera. Billetera is an okay word too. For wallet.
Billetera?
Billetera, B-I-L-L-E. Yeah,
Marilyn?
billetera.
Oh,
Sometimes
We did
people like,
not, we did not get the screen with the sentences on it.
No, we didn't.
oh.
So
Okay.
we made our
Either, I
own.
just wrote
Oh,
it.
and I should have, okay. Bear with me.
I just jotted them down fast because
yeah,
I
I
thought
just
that.
wrote 'em
Yeah,
down.
and okay. Here we go.
But the free for all was good anyway.
Free-for-all was good anyway, okay.
So,
Super Mikado. We forgot about
I
that
should have
one.
been more specific in giving you directions on that. That's on me. Sorry, guys. Okay.
Can you repeat number 1 again?
No,
Okay.
it was no,
Sí.
profesora. It was,
Mi
bien,
cartera.
bien.
Mi cartera es de cuero. Mi cartera es de cuero.
so you
Is
would
level
not say hace.
Or could you say es hacienda de
Ah, I see where you're going with that. Okay. No, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stop share for a minute. I'm gonna go to little chat board here. I'll put it in the chat box. Es posible decir, there are a few things you can say. Mi cartera, or, some people like to use mi billetera. Some people like that word for wallet. It's a regional thing. It doesn't really matter. Here's the most direct way to say it. Es de cuero. It's made out of that. It's made out of that material that's cuero, okay? You can't say it is made out of. They do have a word for made out of. But then I've got to switch around what I do with the verbs a little bit. So I could do this. Mi cartera está hecha de cuero. You could also say that. Mi cartera está hecha is made out of. That hecha word is the made out of. Hecha de cuero, hecha de cuero. Está hecha de cuero. That's a little trickier because you have to use hecha, which is a past participle. It's now talking about cartera, which is a feminine word. It has to go into a feminine form. It's an irregular participle. See where this is going and so many complicated, yeah. But when you get a souvenir and you turn it upside down to look for a price tag, often they'll say, hecho en Mexico, right? Made in Mexico. Hecho en Mexico, made in Mexico. Yeah.
Hecho en China.
Hecho en China, exacto. No, tienes razón, Keith. Exactamente, sí, hecho en China. Uy, ay, a ver, okay. So, but está hecho de cuero, está hecho de, or está hecha, because this is cartera, de cuero. And notice, cuero does not change to a masculine feminine. Cuero, leather, is a thing. It's not an adjective. So I cannot change materials. Whatever gender that material is,
Okay.
it stays. So it cannot become cuera because cuero is not an adjective that switches gender models. Cuero is a thing, leather, a noun. I can't change that noun to be a different gender. I can even change an adjective into a different gender. But cuero here, we say leather wall. We say, well, leather is the adjective, but leather in Spanish cannot be an adjective. It has to be de cuero. It has to be that. You've got some other things to do with that later that will help with that. Okay. A ver. Uy. Oop. Okay, now you can see we're back to that, right? Okay, they go into the supermarket very early.
That one's hard.
Well, this one is maybe a little trickier than I had hoped, but if you go in, are you entering?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Could you use ir and get the idea across? Sure you could, you know? You could say, van al supermercado. You could. But if they're going into, that's really entrar, isn't it?
Mhm.
That's best translated by entrar, because when you enter, you go into, right? So, ¿cómo se dice they go into? We take entrar, we conjugate it for ellos, right?
Entran.
Entran.
Ellos entran.
Entran, and now we got supermarket. And we need a little preposition to talk about what they're doing in relation to the supermarket.
En.
Entran,
Entran. en.
Entran in.
and then supermercado is also correct because it's entrar to say entran al.
Okay.
Entrar, it's correct to use either one of those adjectives. That video that you had last week with Maria saying that Spaniards are more likely to say entran en el supermercado, but Latin Americans are more likely to say entran al supermercado. They're both correct. Okay. Entran al supermercado o entran en el supermercado. And now just very early.
Muy temprano.
Muy temprano. Muy temprano. Okay.
Did we need the L with N? It's NL.
En el supermercado, yes. Al supermercado, it becomes al. En does not combine with anything to make a single word.
Right, but you can't leave out the L. That's what I'm.
Right, yeah, you shouldn't really
Okay.
leave out the end there.
Okay.
He's leaving the office. He's leaving the office. We need salir,
Sale.
and we're talking about his point of origin. So, he's leaving becomes salir with él. It becomes
Sale.
sale, él sale
De la oficina.
de la oficina
A las 5.
a las 5.
5 a la noche.
A las 5 de la noche, probably they will say a las 5 de la tarde. They don't consider 5 noche yet. But you have the right idea, PM, right, versus AM. But a las 5, they usually don't ever consider that de la noche because it's too early to be nighttime yet. The sun is
A la
still
noche, then a la siesta.
Okay. Okay, bien.
No, Marilyn, could you just repeat that first part?
Sí.
Because Salir-
Mi cartera es de cuero.
No, I'm sorry, the first part of the last sentence.
Oh, perdón. Él sale. He's leaving.
Right. Then did you say de la oficina? Did I hear that
Sí.
in my head?
Él sale de la oficina.
Okay.
Él
thank you.
sale de la oficina.
A las 5.
A las 5.
A las 5.
A las 5. Okay.
So,
Oh, no,
so,
dime.
I was going to say, ella cerrado a la oficina 5 de la noche.
¿Ella sale?
Ella cerrado oficina
¿La
5
oficina está cerrada? Office
Sí.
is closed?
closed.
Okay. La oficina está cerrada, or the office is closed, está cerrada Or you can just say it as la oficina cierra, the office closes.
Cierra. Okay, sí. Gracias.
So there are different ways you could ask that, right? There are different ways actually,
There wasn't much
realistically.
more to ask, which is to say, my office is closed at 5.
Ah, okay. Yeah. What I am going to do is, for those of you, because this may be an issue. Oops. If you want to go into, if you can look at a different screen, if you can't do a split screen, don't bother to do this. If you can go into a split screen, that is the link that will get you into this lesson. You're going to have to forward into a number of, it's going to show you all the screens. You're going to have to go to the end to get to the right page. Okay. Everybody got that? That little link. If you copy that, that will, and if you use a separate screen, if you don't use a separate screen, just ignore that link. But, okay. A ver. Let's take a look at the last 3.
Marilyn,
Yes, see.
on the split screen issue, I have you on one side, but a blank Zoom on the other. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
have
what
the,
happened to me too.
Really? Huh.
I did the Zoom to put it on the left, and then now I'm gonna have to do something. I don't know what I did.
Huh.
It's gone.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
if I can get back. I don't know where I
Don't
am.
know why. It does that. I wish I could tell
I
you.
did it before when I tried playing.
The link also is the homework you gave us last time, so I don't see what you're referencing. I just see what we went through.
Okay, let me go through. And this is,
Oh, I see.
this is why I
got
have
you.
so many lessons up. I have to pick the right one. Oh, you're right. You're correct, Tomas. See, I gave you the wrong link. Perdón. Okay, now I got it. Momentito. Perdón, perdón.
I can't get the
Okay.
screen back.
No.
got
Okay,
the
so I gave you the
screen
wrong link, guys. I'm sorry. No, I think this one is going to be right. For those of you, oh, wait. Wow, that looks
It's
like the same thing.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like the same. Sue, did you
Okay.
get it back, Susan?
Wow, and that's.
No, I have voice, but I don't have video of the,
like that, but now I have it back. Again, what did I do?
And
Somehow.
it
went
may
up
give you just
top,
voice
messed
and
it
not
up.
the video. Okay, wow, this is telling me it's the right link.
This thinks I have 2 Zooms.
Let me try one more thing. Yeah, don't, if it isn't gonna work, if it really is gonna be a problem, then
Oh.
just don't worry about it. Okay, but this should
and if you
be,
remember what you did, let me know.
I think I tried to back up, and then if it didn't, I think I went somehow with my cursor all the way to the top of the screen and tried to get the something, and then all of a sudden the real Zoom class appeared, and the
Okay.
other one was minimized. I mean, like smaller in the middle of the screen. So I do have I had what you had, but I've closed that. And now I have the real class. back.
okay, let me try to do this copy. I think this one is gonna be correct. So oh, it's still, oh no, okay. The very last link, the very, very bottom one, guys.
We'll see what happens.
Try, see if
you're
you can
back.
pull it up.
Yeah.
And if you can't pull it up,
For fear
tell me,
of-
we're gonna look at the actual page for those of you who
Okay,
can't
I
do a
got
second
it.
screen. You got it?
I got it.
You're just special.
You are, Thomas.
I'm working on it, but I have to I have to wait for this thing to load, and then I have to continue
Put
to
it
the
in my
website.
And
Then I have
Okay.
to put my name
But-
in.
I'm going to do a share screen and we're going to take a look at the last three. Okay.
Call Bill Gates.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Two windows.
Okay. Let's take a quick look. We're going to go through these last three. And wow, I'm sorry. I took so much more time than I thought I was going to on this. He is getting out of the car now. Como se dice? He is getting out of the car now. Como se dice? Lots of people are getting on the subway. So we've got a getting out of a vehicle. We've got a getting on a vehicle. Okay. And the very last one, we're leaving for Flagstaff tomorrow. So if you can't do a split screen, don't worry about it. Those are the only three sentences we're working on now. You can see it on the share screen. You can jot it down. He's getting out of the car. And remember, don't go for translating is getting. No, the is like totally unimportant. Is getting tells you use present, meaning it's just happening right now. So just conjugate the verb. He's getting out of the car. Lots of people getting on the subway. We're leaving for Flagstaff. We're talking about a destination there. Not we're leaving Flagstaff. We're leaving for Flagstaff. That's where we want to wind up, right? Bien?
Yeah.
Everybody got it? Okay. We're going to send you back out to breakup rooms. And that means, Marlene, you will be with me. Aquí vamos. Here we go. Okay. Está bien. Marlene.
Okay. He
La
is-
afortunada, you fortunate person.
Oops, I forgot.
You get stuck with me. Okay. And remember, we're going to ignore the is. We're going to ignore the is and are stuff. We're going to look at the action of getting out, right?
Okay.
We're going to say he's getting out.
So L, getting out. See, I'm not sure which verb that is.
Okay. And getting out means you have to go down. You have to take your foot and slide it out and down onto the street. So
Would that
it's
be
the same thing as bajar. Muy bien.
Okay.
We're going to take bajar. We're going to just conjugate it for the guy doing it. El.
El baje.
Baja.
Baja. Okay. Getting out of the car. So that would be so it's you don't want into, you're gonna go out of.
Right.
So it would be, day doesn't seem to make sense. It is.
But
Oh,
your gut was telling you that what was sticking in your brain, what you just said is important, Marlene, because the first thing that came to your mind was de, and that's because you've seen it a bunch of times. And you thought, well, but that's not out. But that's what came to your mind because you've seen it and seen it and seen it.
so would it be del carro? Okay.
Muy bien.
And ahora?
Ahora,
Ahora? Okay.
él baja del carro ahora. Él baja del carro ahora.
Okay.
Bien, muy bien. Okay, lots of people. And the word for people is gente.
Okay. So would you say muchos gente?
Mucha,
Mucha. Okay.
because gente can only be gente, nothing else. No
Okay.
S on it.
You're looking at the whole group as just one. So that's why it's
Yeah, mucha gente. And now not getting out, but getting on.
so that would be
So it's the opposite word of bajar.
so it'd be subir.
Muy bien.
Okay.
So, mucha gente, it's a singular thing, even though it's people. Mucha gente
Subir.
sube,
Okay.
sube.
And then on, so into, so that would be en,
This one won't use en, this one will use al.
al, el met, or no, al,
Sí, sí.
al metro,
Al metro.
a metro, okay.
Sí, mucha gente sube al metro. Mucha gente sube al metro.
Al metro. Okay.
Mucha gente sube al metro. Okay, bien. And now, we're leaving for Flagstaff tomorrow.
Nos vamos, let's see, para Flagstaff mañana.
Exactly.
Okay.
Bien. A lot of ways we say it. Nos vamos, we're taking off. Just plain vamos works. Or salimos works.
Okay.
Okay, all of those. Okay, we're going to bring folks back. We'll give them a minute to finish up. And see, some of these things are starting to stick in your head because it's coming up as, is it that?
And
Yeah. And, you know, that's the trickiness of language.
well, I know all of our goals are to be able to think in Spanish instead of
Right.
think in English and then try to work it into Spanish.
Exactamente. That's exactly right. And that is the hard part. That is the hard part to do. You know, because see, you know, you read that in English, he is leaving, and you want to do that word is, and you don't need that word is anymore. You don't need it because is leaving is just one word. It's
And
that
that,
verb, salir, right?
right.
And that's the hard thing to get used to. But you know, your brain is going to think it in English first. So you want to try to train it to just say, oh, leaving, salir. Boom, make it, you know, in the form for the person who's doing it, and then you're done. Okay, magnífico. Okay, vamos a ver si tienen preguntas. Vamos a ver. Let's take a quick look. We'll pop this back up on the screen. ¿Cómo se dice? He's getting out of the car. He's getting out of the car. It's a vehicle thing.
Del Caro.
Baja del Carro.
Baja del carro.
Oh, Baja de Caro.
How about él
El
está
baja del carro.
Oh,
del carro?
El baja del auto. Same thing. Auto, carro, igual.
Ahora, ahora.
Ahora. Now, we're just telling when, right? With the word ahora. Okay. Lots of people. And this one, maybe you can fudge a couple ways. Lots of people are
Muy
getting on the
gente.
subway. Mucha gente.
Substantives.
Mucha gente. Easiest way. You could say muchas personas,
Oh.
plural. That's okay.
You
But
say
people are
mucho
generally going to use that
or
word gente.
Do you use mucho or muchos? Jen?
Mu-
And
Mucha gente.
oh, it's feminine.
Gente es femenina.
Ooh.
Mucha gente, or muchas personas, okay? So what you do with the verb is going to depend on if you picked muchas personas or mucha gente. Mucha gente, getting on.
To Ben.
Mucha gente sube. That'll be a singular. I know, a little tricky there. Mucha gente sube, getting on, right? Because you're kind of going up to get in, right? Sube.
So you're getting, the question I had is, are you getting in this, are you, is on the right word or
You're
versus
getting-
in,
right.
because you're getting in the subway, right? You're not getting,
Right. Whereas we would say getting in the car or getting in the plane. But when we say subway, do you say you're getting in the subway or you're getting on the subway?
On the subway.
Look at what
Mucho
English
gente
does.
into el metro.
We went
Oh,
out.
no.
English just says
We-
funky
we-
things, doesn't it?
We
Now,
went-
how do you explain to somebody who's learning English? Oh, we say get in the plane, get in the car, but we usually say get on the subway, don't we? Don't we usually say that?
well,
Get on the
because
subway.
sometimes when you get on a platform, the platform's either down or up. It isn't.
That's true, but it's what they use.
Yeah.
It's
To,
what they
to me,
use.
I'm thinking a subway is underground, so you can't be going up to a subway, but to getting on is that verb.
But
So
Tomas, you're kind of on the right. You're kind of on the right thread of an idea there. You're on a platform.
Right, you're on a platform and depending on what country you're, I mean,
That I'm sure that could be, but they always use al.
Yeah, but if the train is right there, and if you're on the platform and the train is right there, you're gonna get on it. You're gonna get on or get off.
Almond.
Up, down to get to the next platform is a different different deal.
Yeah. And
But
I,
you're
you know,
gonna get
I'll,
on the
when I
subway
was-
to get in or go off.
yeah. When I was first learning this, you know, 15-year-old, I always thought of step up to get into the place, step down to get out of it.
Okay,
That's how I would think of it.
just like a Disney ride.
Like a, well,
Mind the gap. Mind the
yeah,
gap. That's
mind the gap. There you go.
Mind the
Mind the
gap.
gap, as
right
the
there.
Brits
You better
like to
mind the
say.
gap, get on or get off, because it's going away.
Yeah, okay. So
So
that
Mary-
one's gotta be mucha gente sube al metro, or muchas personas, now it's gotta be plural, suben al metro. If you use muchas personas, it's
Oh,
suben.
sube.
If it's mucha gente, it's sube.
Sube.
Because gente is just a singular word, it just is.
Can we
Uh,
back up a little bit
Sí, sí.
to, he's getting out of the car. I said, él está bajando del carro ahora.
You could do that. Now, what's the difference between él está bajando and él baja? Está bajando is strictly used when it's happening as I am speaking.
But it says ahora, which is now,
It
which is
does.
why I thought it was right.
That's correct. You can say it that way. Yes, you can. So either way is good, really.
Okay.
Está bajando gives you that little rolling feeling of it's going on right now, right now, right now. I'm talking and he's doing it as I am speaking, you know. But they totally understand you if you say baja del, you know, baja del carro. Okay, we're leaving for Flagstaff. We're leaving.
Salimos. Sal-
So
Salimos.
Salimos, perfecto.
Salimos para.
And now we're telling our destination. Salimos,
Salimos de Flagstaff mañana.
not salimos de Flagstaff because we're not leaving Flagstaff.
it's
We're leaving to get there.
It's off.
Or para.
Works
Or para.
Para.
or para works.
Para.
Both of those work. Salimos para Flagstaff, correcto. Salimos a Flagstaff, correcto. Salimos para, salimos a. Both of them are fine. Both of them are easily understood. If you say salimos de Flagstaff, cuidado. That means already in Flagstaff, we're getting out of it. Not we're going to it. Salimos de Flagstaff tells you our point of origin is Flagstaff. Salimos a Flagstaff, salimos para Flagstaff tells you we want to wind up in Flagstaff when we're done traveling. That's
So
our-
salimos de Flagstaff mañana.
means
equals
we're already here in
leave- to
Flagstaff.
leave flag tomorrow.
We're leaving Flag tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Gracias.
Exacto. And that's important, okay? Es importante, right? Whether you use de or a, whether you use de or para, that's important because they indicate the opposites with what, you know, what's Flagstaff? Is it the place you're leaving or it's the place you want to wind up in? We're leaving to get to that place, okay? ¿Está bien?
sí,
¿Está
Marilyn,
bien?
quick question. For subir, is it usually used with a?
Sí,
Yeah, okay. Like ear.
sí.
Okay.
Like ear, like ear. Okay, muy bien. Okay, vamos a ver. I was gonna do a little more with that, but we're not going to. We're gonna do an introduction to verbs like, perdón. We're gonna do an introduction, which is okay, because you're gonna have lots of things to watch for the weekend. We're gonna do an introduction to verbs that are like gustar. I will show you a couple of screens though about these because it will help you to figure out what we're talking about with verbs like gustar. And verbs like gustar are just, man, they're a stinker for most English speakers. They just are. Verbs like gustar, and the sad thing is, I'm sorry to tell you, that lots and lots and lots of verbs act like gustar. Lots of them. Lots of them. when I was first learning Spanish, and I thought I was pretty good. It's like all of a sudden it'd be like, whoa, wait a minute. They'd be using a verb like gustar that I hadn't expected. It was a bump in the road that I didn't expect. I was going to have to get over that speed bump. And it was a speed bump I had to get over. Okay, we're going to take a look at what happens with gustar. Okay, because there are lots of verbs that will follow the same pattern. So this first page is going to be a no-brainer because this one you already know and you've seen it a bunch of times. But your English brain still wants to fight you on it, probably. Okay, gustar. Okay, technically, if you want to go look it up in a 501 verb book, you are going to find conjugations like gusto and gustamos and gustas. And the fact is, you hardly ever use those verbs. They exist, but we don't use them. We use it as gusta, we use it as gustan. That's pretty much it. Okay, unless you're flirting with somebody, in which case you need those other verbs. Literally, yeah, not a joke. If you're flirting with somebody and you're like, hey, baby, then you want to know gustas, okay? Or maybe gusto, but otherwise, no, because you give the wrong impression. Okay, so, okay, you can look at it as, shoot, this is hard, or you can look at it as, yay, I only need to know 2 verb conjugations. I only need 2. I need gusta, I need gustan. I'm good to go now, yay! So look at it as that's easy. And then you look at it and say, oh, the little pronoun in front tells to whom that thing is pleasing with gustar, right? So me gusta and me gustan, something is pleasing to me, some things, a bunch of them, they are pleasing to me, right? Te gusta and te gustan are both good, but it depends on what you like. If what you like is one thing or an action, it's te gusta. If what you like is plural, more than one, a whole bunch of things, it's te gustan, right? Le gusta, he likes, or she likes, or you, the formal you, usted, like. Le gusta. With le, you may need an a phrase. A mi amigo le gusta. A mi hija le gusta. A usted le gusta. You may need an a phrase with the name of a person to tell who we mean by le. That is where it's very common to hear that a phrase. A mi hija le gusta. A mi amigo le gusta. A usted le gusta. We're telling who you mean by le, because that le word is very fuzzy. You might need le gustan, a whole bunch of things. They are pleasing to somebody. And the le again tells you that it's pleasing to one person, whoever that person is. Nos gusta, we like. Nos gustan, also we like. Nos gusta, we like if it's one thing or it's an activity. Nos gusta. Nos gustan, we like if the thing we like is plural, more than one. Nos gustan las naranjas. We like oranges because oranges is more than one, so it's got to be gustan. All right. And les gusta, they like, or you guys like. Again, we may need an a phrase. A mis amigos les gusta. A ustedes les gusta. You may need a phrase to define who you mean by les. But les gusta, they like, and the thing that is liked is a onesie thing or an activity. Les gustan, they like when what is liked is a bunch of things, a plural. Okay? Now, lots of verbs will behave just like gustar, and that means you need to start off with a me, a te, a le, a les, or a nos. And then the verb is going to go into only one form singular or a second form plural. And that's all it's going to do. Here are some verbs, and you'll get the long list later, but these are only a few. There are a bunch that can act like gustar. Encantar, which is just a magnification of gustar. It's just bumping up gustar to a higher level. Instead of I like something, I love it. Not a human being. I love it. I love skiing. I love bike riding. I love dogs. I love dogs. I don't like dogs. I love dogs. I love dogs. It's more than one. So I can't use encanta. It's got to be encantan. Me encantan los perros. Me encantan los perros. I love dogs. Not me encanta los perros. Me encantan. Me encantan los perros. Okay? So you love something. Molestar, which is a great big, wow. It is a fuller cognate. It does not mean that nasty word we know of as English. Molestar means to bother, to annoy, to bug you. Okay? Molestar, to bother. Interesar, to be interesting, right? One thing is interesting to somebody. The to somebody is the me, te, le, nos, les, right? Importar is something is important or it matters to somebody. It'll be either just importa or just importan. But the pronoun has to tell who it matters to, me, or te, or le, or nos, or les, okay? Caer bien, we'll practice that a little bit later because that's a little more complicated because caer means fall. And this is just an odd thing of Spanish. The way they say you like somebody, like not a pickup line in a bar, but you know, oh, wow, your kid brought his girlfriend home. Do you like her? Oh yeah, we like her. She falls on me well.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it says. When you want to just mean, oh yeah, I like him, good person. Not a romantic like. Ah, I like that guy. I like that gal. Me cae bien. They fall on me well. It's what it is. Okay, that's what everybody says. Me cae mal. They fall on me badly. Don't like them. Okay. Muy importante. Doler. And this will be either duele or duelen. When a body part hurts you, you got to talk to a doctor, a guy at the pharmacy, whoever. You got to say, my stomach hurts. Your stomach is this many things, right? So we conjugate doler for the one body part that hurts, estómago. Duele. We have to tell who that body part, one thing is hurting. That's going to be the who it hurts is the me, the te, the le, the nos, the les. We'll take a, so, okay. Me duele el estómago. Me duele el estómago. To me, hurts the stomach. I got a stomach ache. Me duele el estómago. Estómago is this many body parts. So it's duele. Who it's hurting is me. So it's me duele. Me duele, and now I tell the body part that hurts. Me duele el estómago. If my hand hurts because I just slammed it in a car door, me duele la mano, right? If I want to say the smog is so bad, the air pollution is so bad that my eyes hurt, I cannot use duele to talk about los ojos. It'll become duelen with los ojos, duelen. Me duelen los ojos. My eyes hurt me. Les duelen los ojos. Their eyes hurt them, right? Te duelen los ojos. Your eyes hurt you. So this verb doler out of this batch is super important because if you want to say a body part hurts, you got to know how to use that verb. And I will build, you know, I'm going to alter this lesson a little bit to build in some exercises with that. And the last two we're going to take a look at are parecer, which means to see, and fascinar, to fascinate. Fascinar is just like interesar. It's just a different way of saying expressing interest. right? Like we have fascinate, or this fascinates me, or this interests me. They have fascinate or interest, fascinar. Parecer is kind of an interesting point, because many times you want to say, wow, this seems good to me. This seems hard to me. This seems expensive to me, right? And the way you say, this seems a certain way is me parece. Me parece, it seems to me. Me parece might be followed by the thing. Me parece muy caro el auto. The car seems really expensive, or you might throw in me parece que. It seems to me that. Me parece que no estás bien. It seems to me that you don't feel well. Me parece que no estás bien. You might be talking about a situation. Me parece que no estás bien. That's a situation, right? Anyway, all of these verbs act like gustar. So you're going to get a little lesson sent out with a link, okay, in the email. And it's going to show you these examples. So let's just look at some of the examples. Me molesta ese ruido. That noise bothers me. Molestar acts like gustar. What's the thing that bugs you? Noise. Ruido, noise. It's a onesie thing, right? So we conjugate molestar as molesta. The me tells you who it bothers. It bothers me. If I want to say the noise bothers you, I change that word me into what? Te. If I want to say the noise bothers us, all of us, I can't use me, I can't use te, I use
No.
nos. If I want to say the noise bothers her,
Le.
it's le. See where we're going with this? Okay. Le molesta ese ruido means he is bugged by it or she is bugged by it. Okay. Now, if the thing that is annoying to you is plural, like niños, kids, little kids, they're loud. Me molestan. Oh, and I'm sorry, perdón. I got to.
Good.
Good,
It
'cause I
can't be
was like
los.
going,
I had a cut and paste that I didn't do right. Ooh, so we're going to take that out. There won't be a los. Me molestan esos niños.
okay, good.
I typed one thing and I changed my mind and I forgot to cut it out. Me molestan esos niños. When you get the link for it, that word will be gone. Me molestan esos niños. Those kids, they bug me. Me molestan. If there is more than one of those kids, so it's molestan. Those kids bug me. Me molestan esos niños. Those kids are bugging you. We have to change the me into te. Those kids, they are bugging everybody. They're bugging everyone.
Yes.
Les. They're bugging us.
Nos.
Nos. That's all that changes, right? Okay. Let's look at interesar. Nos interesa este museo. Wow, this museum interests us. Or we might say it is interesting to us. Means the same thing, right? Nos interesa este museo. Right? But museo is one thing, so it's interesa. Nos interesa. If it's interesting to me, I can't use nos. I have to use, instead of nos, me. If it's interesting to him, I can't use me or nos. It has to become the pronoun
Le.
le, right? If the thing that's interesting is a bunch of items, and here I'm even saying it's not interesting. No nos interesan tus problemas. Your problems don't interest us. You're expressing kind of, we don't care about your problems. Okay? Problemas is more than one, so it's interesan. The nos tells who it's interesting to, or in this case, not interesting to. No nos interesan tus problemas. We don't care about your problems. We're not interested in your problems. We're interested in our problems. But problemas drives what we do with that verb interesar. Okay? Parecer expresses someone's opinion of something. ¿Cómo te parece este vestido? How does this dress seem to you? You're asking if they like it. How does it seem to you? Good? Not so good? They want to know what you think about it. If somebody asks you, ¿Cómo te parece? They want to know how it seems to you. What do you think about it? Okay? Me parecen muy caras estas cosas. These things seem very expensive to me. Cosas, things is plural, so parecen has to be plural. The me tells who they seem expensive to, who thinks that. Me parece que es muy bonita. It seems to me, it seems very pretty to me. So sometimes parecer uses que, sometimes it doesn't. Kind of depends on what you want to use. Okay, here's a really important example. Le duele mucho la cabeza. His head or her head really hurts. Le duele. The thing that hurts is cabeza, one thing. So it's duele. Le says that it's hurting him or it's hurting her. You might need an a phrase to tell who you mean by le. Le duelen los ojos. His eyes hurt or her eyes hurt. Ojos is a plural body part, so the verb has to become duelen. See where we're going with this? Yeah? Okay, we're going to stop it from there. You'll see these examples, and I'm going to take out my cut and paste error there, make sure it goes out to you correctly. You're going to get 2 videos to watch on this. 2 videos. Okay? You're going to get 2 videos to watch on that. And when we come back next week, I want you to ask questions about what you don't understand about using this. And I want you to be able to use some of these verbs in a really simple way to say what bothers you, what hurts you, you know, to talk about what you're interested in, what you don't care about at all, to talk about, you know, we use this a lot to talk about how we feel about things, right? Say you're interested, you love something, you don't care at all, that a body part hurts. We use it for a lot of different verbs. So you'll get some little exercises with these. Sí, ¿está bien?
Sí.
Está bien.
Okay, magnifico. I will send out the links for the next episodes of the movies. Both
Mi
movies.
traje cerebro.
Perdón?
Mi traje
Me duele.
cerebro.
Me duele
Cerebro.
el cerebro.
Cerebro.
Cerebro,
Sí.
my brain hurts. Me duele el cerebro. I can see from this, I'm going to break this down into some smaller steps for you. I can see a way I can do this better. Okay, ¿está bien?
Está bien.
You're going to go through this. You're going to see the videos. The videos will also make it much, much easier. And I will break this down into actually 3 screens instead of 2. That's going to put you on a better path. But think in terms of, I've got to do the same thing with these verbs that I do with gustar.
Okay.
It's either molesta or molestan. It's gusta or gustan. It's encanta or encantan. It's one or the other and nothing else. And then stick your little pronoun in the front and you're all set to go. Okay?
Yeah.
¿Está bien? Okay.
Está bien, gracias.
Okay. Por nada. I'm gonna rework those screens, but that's okay. It'll put things into a little bit smaller steps, which I think will make it a little bit clearer for you. You'll watch the videos and it'll be like, yeah, it'll start to click. It really will. And then we'll practice it a bunch next week. And you'll practice it with, stuff, with visuals, okay? Está bien.
Está bien.
Muy bien. Those of you who are off to watch the debate, have fun with that, for sure. Get something to drink, because no matter which side of the field you're on, you're probably gonna need it. And, okay, here we go. Okay. Que tengan buena semana. Have a good week.
Muchas gracias, profesora.
De nada, por nada.
Okay.